Whenever I teach an intro digital photography class, I find students overwhelmed with all the terms and abbreviations written on lenses. Rightly so. With constant updates on lens technology and with all camera manufacturers with their own lingo, I find it overwhelming too. In this tutorial, I'm going to go over terms used by Canon on their lenses. Let's look at this 50mm lens. First, we know that it's a Canon lens. It indicates it's an EF lens. EF stands for electrofocus. Canon makes EF lenses to be used with its full-frame DSLR cameras. These EF lenses will also work with Canon's EOS film cameras. Full-frame sensors are the same size as 35mm negative, which is 36mm by 24mm. Generally speaking, larger sensors provide greater number of pixels and hence better image quality. Next, it tells us it is a 50mm lens. This refers to the focal length of the lens. In basic terms, focal length affects the angle of view and magnification of the subject matter. Smaller the number designated for focal length, wider the angle of view, and lesser the magnification of subject matter. Bigger the number that is designated for focal length, the narrower the angle of view and greater the magnification of subject matter depicted. 50mm also indicates that it has a single focal length of 50mm. A lens with a single focal length is a prime lens or a fixed lens. A prime lens only has one focal length as opposed to zoom lenses which have variable focal lengths. 1:1.4 indicates maximum f-stop of this lens. F-stop is the unit of measurement of aperture. Aperture is the opening of the lens through which light enters the camera. Smaller the f-stop number, bigger the opening of the aperture, and vice versa. Photographers also refer to lens being fast or slow. This lens with maximum f-stop of 1.4 is a fast lens because it lets in a lot of light, allowing it to be used in low light conditions. Here is the focusing mode switch. AF stands for autofocus and MF stands for manual focus. You switch the slider to be on autofocus or manual focus. In autofocus, the camera does the focusing for you, and on manual focus, you have to focus manually. This is the focusing ring. When your lens is set on MF, you rotate the focusing barrel to focus. The closer the focusing distance is, the further the front of the lens extends, and vice versa. In this window, you see focusing distance in feet in green and meters in white. When this line is at 0.45 meter or 1.5 feet, it indicates the distance of plane of focus from the camera. Similarly, 3 meters or 10 feet indicates the respective distance of the plane of focus. If subject matter to be focused is at this point or beyond, it indicates the plane of focus is at infinity. All focusing distance further away from this point can be focused by setting the focus at infinity. When the lens is set at AF, the camera focuses in autofocus mode when the shutter release is half depressed. This small red line next to the white line is a focus indicator for infrared photography. Infrared has different wavelengths than visible light, and hence the indicator is to be used when focusing for infrared. This protruding red dot is the lens mount alignment indicator. When you want to mount the lens to the camera, you align the red dot on the lens with the red dot on the lens bayonet. The back of the lens cap indicates the lens diameter is 58mm. Lens cap or filter or lens hood of 58mm is to be used with this lens, otherwise they will not fit. This lens is a Canon zoom lens. It is also an EF lens made for full-frame Canon cameras. 24 to 70 mm indicates the variable focal length of the lens. Any focal length between 24 mm and 70 mm can be set for this lens by rotating the zoom lens barrel. The white line indicates the focal length being used. The lens physically extends or shortens when the zoom barrel is rotated. 1:2.8 indicates the maximum aperture of this lens is f2.8. This is a pretty fast lens as well. Canon has two lines of lenses for its DSLR cameras. L indicates its L series of lenses. The L series is Canon's higher-end lenses targeted for its professional photography market. These lenses have superior lens quality. L lenses also have a red ring on the front of the lens. 2 in Roman numerals indicate that this is a second-generation version of this particular lens. To date, there are up to 3 generations of Canon lenses. USM stands for ultrasonic motor. It refers to the focusing technology inside the lens. USM lens autofocuses faster and are quieter than its standard lenses. Do note that Canon has 2 types of USM lenses, but they use the same designation. One is better than the other. Look at the lens specs to find out which type of USM lenses the lens has. This indicates the diameter is 82 mm for filters, lens cap, or lens hood. This small red dot is the alignment mark to put the lens hood on the lens. You match the red dot with a red mark on the lens and rotate clockwise to mount the lens hood. This button unmounts the lens hood from the lens. The small red circle with a short line next to it is the alignment mark for mounting the lens hood backward when you do not want to use it. This lock switch can be enabled when the lens is not extended, preventing the lens from extending on its own, in instances such as when carrying the camera on a shoulder strap. This ring on the front is for focusing barrel, and the ring at the back is for zoom. Note that the focusing ring and the zoom ring is slightly different. The markings of the zoom ring are slightly thicker and shorter than that of the focusing ring. This allows the photographer to differentiate the 2 rings by feel. At the bottom side of the lens is its serial number. This Canon zoom lens is an EF lens. It is for use on APS-C cameras with cropped sensor sizes. This lens indicates its maximum f-stop is 1:3.5-5.6. That means its maximum f-stop is variable. The maximum f-stop can be anywhere from f3.5 to f5.6 depending upon the focal length of the zoom lens. For this lens, at 18 mm focal length, the maximum f-stop is f3.5. At 50 mm focal length, maximum f-stop is f5, and at 200 mm, maximum f-stop is f5.6. The abbreviation IS stands for image stabilizer. IS technology corrects for camera movements when taking handheld pictures in slower shutter speed. Image stabilizer is also indicated on the top of the lens, and you can enable or disable image stabilizer by turning the switch on or off. This tells us the minimum focusing distance is 0.45 meters or 1.5 feet. With this lens, you cannot focus anything closer than 0.5 meter or 1.5 feet. This lens also has a lock-in mechanism that disables the focal length of the zoom lens to change. This protruding small white square is the alignment mark for APS-C cameras for mounting onto the camera bayonet. You align the white mark with the white mark on the bayonet to mount the lens on the camera. There is also a red dot on this APS-C camera's bayonet, which is the alignment mark for mounting EF lenses. EF lenses can be used on Canon's crop frame sensor cameras. There are other terms Canon uses, and I'm going to list some of them. RF lenses are for Canon's mirrorless full-frame cameras. EFM lenses are for its mirrorless crop frame sensor cameras. MPE is indicated on its macro lens. Lenses marked STM has a stepping motor in its design. These types of motors are designed to provide smooth and silent autofocus during video recordings. TSE indicates the lens has tilt and shift functionality, allowing photographers to shift or tilt optics in relation to the sensors. Architecture photographers often use tilt-shift lenses. I hope that clarifies Canon lens lingo and abbreviations. If you have any questions, please use the comment section below. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And also click on that bell icon to be notified when I post new tutorials.